you are wondering what to do about coronavirus, this is the video for you. I have heard from a lot of parents online and in the office about coronavirus, and it's definitely making the news, and the cases are increasing, and it feels like in the news are reporting that it's just a matter of time before we have it here in the States. And parents want to know, are we doing enough? Do we need to run and hide? Do we need to batten down the hatches and just stay where we are for the next weeks? Parents are worried, and rightly so. It's scary, it's something new, it's something that has had a lot of press coverage. And how to deal with the anxiety, I think that's a big worry, is like, am I doing enough for my child? Am I doing enough for my family to keep them safe? What I know as a pediatrician from reading, from talking with experts, from reviewing what the CDC, the WHO, all the news sources have, is that coronavirus is likely coming to the States. The reason that I say that is because it's basically coming everywhere else in the world, and it's only a matter of time before cases start popping up in the United States. Now, before you worry, before you seal all the doors and stock up on bottled water, I think we need to look at the big context of this. Most of the cases that have been reported, the symptoms are mild or even asymptomatic, which means that most people that get this coronavirus have cold symptoms, if anything. And a lot of patients that have been testing positive are asymptomatic. Even on the cruise ship and other places, they have no symptoms, which means that their body's probably immune to it or immune to similar enough viruses that it's able to fight it off. And the immune system does what it's supposed to do and takes care of the infection. Now, those that are having more severe disease or dying, typically immune suppressed, the elderly, those with chronic medical conditions. As cases rev up in the United States, which is likely that they will, a lot of parents wonder, what should I do? I personally and professionally think that it is very impractical to say, we're just going to check out from civilization for the next month while you guys deal with coronavirus, and then we'll come back when it's all done. Because the likelihood of getting by without catching coronavirus, without being exposed to it, is exceedingly low if and when it comes to the United States. It's very contagious, meaning that a lot of people easily acquire it, and it affects and infects most people that are exposed to it to some degree, which means that even if you say, okay, we're going to peace out of civilization for 4 weeks, then we'll return and go back to Target and church and school and stuff like that, there will be cases in the community whenever you decide to come back out that are either asymptomatic, they're getting over their symptoms, you will likely be exposed regardless of what you do. So what that means is, instead of hunkering down, we do good hand hygiene. We avoid sick people. We avoid exposing others if we are under the weather. We talk with our physician, our pediatrician, our family doctor, internal medicine doctor, if we have symptoms and if cases are increasing, then we talk with them and make a plan for our family. But I don't think that it means that you need to ration food and expect that we're just going to peace out for the next month or 2 months, because the likelihood of piecing out at just the right moment for just the amount of right of time that you're not going to be exposed to coronavirus ever is exceedingly low. It's likely that it will become similar to influenza or other viruses that have seasonality and that come and go over time. So most people will catch coronavirus when it comes to the United States because it's infectious, it moves around, we interact with other people. But I don't think that it means that you can't go to Target, you can't go to church, you can't go to school, and that doing those things, even if you said we're going to just be really cautious, that is going to make a big difference in terms of preventing the illness. So my advice is to keep calm, wash your hands, carry on with life. Now, we are spoiled in the United States, and we're spoiled at this time of history too, that when a child catches a fever outside of the neonatal period, we usually think, okay, they're sick. Well, can they go back to daycare tomorrow? Can they go to school this week? Do we need to even go to the doctor? 50 years ago, 100 years ago, a fever was much more serious. And that was because we didn't have vaccines. We didn't have vaccines to prevent a lot of the really scary diseases of childhood. And cold viruses like coronavirus would come through, and the population wouldn't worry because they were more worried about all these bacterial infections that could cause meningitis, bloodstream infections, urinary tract infections, pneumonia, bloodstream illness like sepsis. And so there just wasn't the worry about all the other cold viruses and similar things. So we're spoiled in that we can focus in and say, how are we going to avoid this? Well, we can do hand washing and watch for symptoms. And if they come up and they're sick, then we can go to the doctor. We can take fever reducing medicine. We can get the support that we need. And so try and keep that in mind too, that this is something that our country and our world has faced before, that we have good modern healthcare, and it doesn't mean that we have to worry about a pandemic where we're going to have to, seal our doors and rely on canned food and those sorts of things. So my advice is talk with your physician, keep calm, wash your hands, and carry on with everyday life. And please, 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 don't stress your children out over this more than necessary. They've heard about it at school, they've talked about it in their classrooms, but it doesn't mean that it needs to be a constant conversation. We don't have to keep the news on at all times monitoring. That raises everybody's anxiety without providing any benefit. And so my advice is just continue on with normal life. Go outside and play, see friends, go to church, go to Target, go to the grocery store, go to school, do all those things, and expect that we will truck through this and that there will be other things like this in the future that we deal with. But we have good access to modern healthcare readily available. And so at the end of the day, I would not let this be something that determines the next 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 weeks of your family's life. In the meantime, keep up the good work. Please share this video, share it with somebody else that's worried and isn't sure what to do about coronavirus, so that they get that information too. Take care.